Go, 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 and welcome everybody. This is PnP Weekly episode 246. It is 22nd of April, 2024. We are heading to this spring conference season madness pretty soon, starting from next week from Orlando. In the PnP Weekly, we always talk about the conference madness. No, we don't. We talk about the latest to Microsoft 365 and related technologies like Power Platform, GitHub, and Microsoft 365 and whatever we have. So in Microsoft Cloud.
And weather in Finland.
And the weather in Finland. Yes, it was snowy.
It's snowing again.
It's just, it's one of these years apparently. So we'll get to the spring any month now, which is a bit frustrating, but it's okay. So anyway, my name is Vesa Juvonen. I'm a principal product manager within Microsoft 365 platform areas, and with me as a co-host is Waldek.
Hi everybody, my name is Waldek Mastykarz, and I'm developer advocate for Microsoft 365 at Microsoft.
Cool. And in the show, we always have an interview and then articles which we'll go through from the Microsoft community. Today we already recorded the interview with...
Today our guest is Mr. Simon Doy from the UK. He is the owner and CTO of a company named iThink 365. He's also an MVP, and we talked to him about many areas, from about how to organize work for knowledge workers. Are intranets still a thing? And how do you embrace change? But also about some other things, about like how he came to be an MVP, and how, like, what tips does he have for folks who think about like setting that first step in community. So without further ado, let's jump into the interview.
Sounds good. Awesome. Excellent. Let's get moving on the show. So welcome, Simon, on the PnP Weekly episode. Waldek, 246. Yes, there we go. Cool.
I'm here the whole week.
Cool. Yes, providing value. No,
yes,
absolutely. But Simon, thank you for joining on the show. Really cool to have you here. Let's start with the basics. Who are you and what do you do for a living?
Well, thank you for inviting me. This is awesome to be part of this community. So I'm Simon Doy. I wear many hats actually, but I'm the owner and the CTO at iThink 365. And what do I do? Lots of stuff: sales, development. Like I say, wear many hats. But I love the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. I like building stuff. I like helping customers to use Microsoft 365 just to make their businesses successful. That's what I like doing, and I like sharing my knowledge as well too. So,
which is why you're an MVP as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
another hat at the way, right?
So let's unwrap or let's a bit deep dive on that one. So I think 365. You're a CEO. What's the size of the company?
So there's 7 of us. Okay. Yeah, so we're a small Microsoft partner, but we sort of have 2 parts to the business. We've got the services, and we take our customers on a journey, taking them through improving collaboration, communication, knowledge management, building apps and automation around their business processes, building knowledge as well, and also then helping them kind of understand the data they're creating, analytics. Yep. We've also got some products as well, which are around sort of connecting the people within the business to one another, and also connecting them to the business as well, so that it helps those organizations retain their staff, but organizations where employees are engaged and bought into the mission of that business are going to be they're going to be happier, they're going to be more productive, and that's more profitable as well. So a lot of wins there by having these connected employees. So
coming back on the multiple hat, that explains the amount of stuff what I think 365 is doing, and you're the CEO, you will need to step in and help the people in the company and the customers and do things, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I guess it's a lot of why I've always loved SharePoint, because it's about sharing. Sharing is caring, and the community. But it's so important as well in the business as well. Trying to create that culture within the organization so that people help one another out. They feel safe. They don't feel like they're going to suddenly, get stuck and there's no one there to support and help them. And we do eat our own dog food or whatever, but we do use all the tools which we we sell to our customers as well. So Viva Engage is a big part of it, actually. Even though we're a small organization, we use that a lot.
Cool.
So yeah, it's really important to have that sharing and learning as well. So I think that's another part too, is just learning all the time and keeping up to date with what's going on in the low code, the pro code side, Copilot, of course, and all that
code,
which is an interesting thing, and also segue, like in the space, right? In M365, especially when you expand it to things like Azure, Power Platform, happens a lot. Like it feels like every day there is an update. How do you keep up? Like, what tips do you have for your colleagues, customers, even for your own folks? Like, how do you stay on top of everything that's going on so that you can give folks good advice?
It is tricky, but people, things like this show help. The PnP Weekly, the weekly community calls on a Tuesday afternoon. I generally try and get.
I'll send you the $20 later.
I do, and it really helps. Keeping an eye on Twitter, LinkedIn, and also as well, using some of the admin 365 notification tools, that sort of stuff. So yeah, but it is just, my morning. So I think in the last session you were chatting, what does someone's day look like? But I get up quite early, so I get up about 5:30, and I meditate, do a bit of yoga, and then I spend a bit of time just kind of perusing the Twitter and LinkedIn and just kind of seeing what's going on. Look on YouTube as well and see what's going on the 365 platform communities subscriptions as well.
Do you have any favorite lists, accounts, LinkedIn groups, YouTube playlists, channels that you look at?
Well, I suppose the Twitter stream, a lot of the people that I'm following are in the M365 space, in the Azure space as well, and so using that. But also, like I say, YouTube, just sort of going through what videos are being pushed out. That's a great way. There's a couple of people who retweet a lot, and of course, as I'm being interviewed, I've completely forgotten their names right now. That's how it goes, isn't it? But there's some great characters. I'll find their name and I'll pop it on. Yep. But they just share what's going on. There's a few, lots of what they've got. Petri IT Knowledge. They've got some good stuff. Podcasts as well. I absolutely love to consume podcasts. I go swimming on a Thursday morning, and I've got these headphones where you can go swimming with them, and it makes swimming very entertaining. And so I'll listen to podcasts there on that.
Which ones?
So Copilot Connection. So Kevin, you can owe me a $5, and
How come it was $5 for Kevin and 20 for me?
You offered the 20.
Value, right? Value negotiations.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. I'll have to renegotiate with Kevin, won't I? Actually, but also business type ones as well. So there's actually it's Andrew Connell's fault, but startups, the rest of us. So just keep an eye on what's going on in the business space as well. And it used to be M365 Dev podcast. That's coming back soon. So but there is so much out there. It's difficult. Sometimes you kind of need to try and switch off just to keep, so you get your work done, don't you? So
yeah.
Now, how do you actually get your work done, or what kind of work do you get done? So you start at 5:30 and all of that stuff and catching up on things, but how does a typical day look like for Simon?
Right? I mean, the morning is gone just to catch up with things. So now, so then there's lunch. After lunch, we got like hour or two to actually do the work, right?
It's true. So I go and drop the kids off at school most days, and then we have a stand-up. So we have a stand-up with the team at 9:00. It used to be we used to do half an hour. We now do 45 minutes. The first 15 minutes is just catching up, talking about people's social, and again, connecting people together. Giving people some chance to kind of maybe vent or just kind of keep up to date with what the latest TV shows people are watching, and it's really great. Like, we all work remotely. and it's important to have that connection. There's a lot to be said about improving, people's mental health and well-being by having these sessions. So we brought those in, and then we all just go around the room and talk about what we did yesterday and what we're going to do today. And then the real work starts at 10. And what do I do? I'm speaking at European Collab Summit about this, but I use something called a default diary. So I will, the previous week on a Friday in the afternoon, I will plan my next week, and I write it down, and then I'll put it into Planner after. But each day I have certain things I do. So I'm maybe looking after sales side, marketing side, looking into custom co-pilots, whatever it might be, and I have set times, and I have that in every week. And this default diary is something which my business coach introduced to me, and it's absolutely fantastic because you just get into that schedule of doing things, and you can just change hats as you're going through. So that's how I get stuff done.
Yeah.
That's actually that's a good way of doing planning. I don't do the advanced planning too much, but again, one thing what I related on sharing these things, one thing what I found incredibly useful when I started doing that is that I actually every single morning I typically do task in OneNote. I use OneNote because I don't know, OneNote is my thing. But the beauty of using OneNote is that, for example, as I write a lot of social media posts and all of that stuff, I capture and archive all of them. So I have basically copies and the work and summaries and bullet points. And when I get an idea, I go to the OneNote, I write it down. Somebody sends me a link on something, I copy that, put it in a OneNote for that particular week. So then I can always find it afterwards. And OneNote has a brilliant search, so you can actually find relevant things. What was it with Waldek? Found it. And that's a really nice way of also it's kind of a diary, but not really, but you're kind of capturing all the time what you're doing. And most of the time, I realize that I always go back on previous week or week before to capture copy stuff. Hey, I did the social media and then that went really well. I'll just copy that and modify things. So reusing the same assets. So
that's really good. And then you get that consistency of what you're trying to say in the messaging, and you don't have to keep rethinking. Yeah, fantastic.
Correct.
Yeah, I used to do and planner a lot. So if I get an idea, sometimes at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll quickly grab my phone, pop something in, and then go back to sleep. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay.
A while back,
that's the moment. Sorry.
Go on.
No, that's the moment when you're like, no, I'll remember this in the morning. It was so good idea, and then you remember in the morning that it was such a good idea, but you have no idea what it was.
It's called age.
It is also.
I don't have this issue. I don't know. A while back, I tried this. I read about this new approach. There was a book by Cal Newport. I think it was named "World Without Email."
Okay.
And it's all about, the kind of the impatience that we get, the chaos that we get in our work, with the hive mind being always on, always plugged in, and not being able to do any of our work. So he kind of proposed one of the things he shared in his book was this approach, like how do you keep and manage tasks? Like whenever you have a task, you add it to your kind of inbox where it stays, and then you have a few columns which you use to move it around. One of them being there are things you just add to your incoming box. There are things that you need to do, you need to deal with on time because they are urgent. Then there are things for which you wait for somebody's reaction or action. Right. And then there are things you need to talk about with somebody. And then there are things you actually plan to do in the upcoming week. One thing I noticed is that when I filled the list initially, my column where I wait for things became filled instantly. The cool thing about it is one, it made me realize how many things that I do depend on somebody else. Whether that's for input, feedback, reaction, or a part of the process where they need to do things. But also, that gave me such a peace of mind because it's out of my mind. I'm waiting and it's there and I can see it at any point in time. This is on hold. And then basically at the beginning of the week, I can see, or there is an explicit date. I will hear from you by then. And until then, I don't need to do anything about it because I see there's a date and only on that date I will get back to them like what was the state or something, right? So that gives me the ability to not drop any balls ever, because I can at any point in time see I'm waiting for that. 1, 2, whenever I want to talk to folks about things, I plan it as a separate thing, and I try to do it at a fixed point in time, or whenever we get to talk about things, like maybe we have a weekly sync. I will bring it up then. So I will try to cause less chaos for them with ad hoc things. Oh yeah, let me ask, because like I had a thought and I have a million thoughts a day. No. I will not ask you things immediately. I will put it on a pile of stuff. And then when we meet, maybe I will have like 3 things immediately, but it will not be every single thing being a separate thread or an email or a message or something, right? So also keeping the peace of mind for myself, but also trying to, keep everybody else organized and not to randomize them too, right? So I found that a really great approach to how to manage tasks and go about work.
Cool. I've written that book down. I shall have to have a read. Yeah, that's really
yeah, definitely.
And that's actually a nice way of also doing that in a way that you're still, you're up to date on things, but you're still personally accountable. Because one thing what I noticed, what people do a lot in business is basically the tennis emails, which is like polish on your card. You're basically just acknowledging and then asking them to own the task and then wait for their response. And then the claim is basically, well, you didn't respond, so I didn't react on things. It's like no. It's better that own the problem, own the action, and plan
and also to add to that, keep everybody informed too. So there's also another rule: as the task moves between a column, it always accompanies a message, because the state has changed and somebody needs to be informed. If things are done, that goes up to your management chain, maybe, or the stakeholders or partners or with whoever you work.
Yeah.
If things are on hold, well, it's on hold because you're expecting somebody. So you let people know. So there's always, when stage will change, you notify somebody so that everybody involved stay on top. So there's also a nice way to organize it all.
Yeah. Well, that sounds, So we use Planner, a lot so we've got, in all the different teams, there's a plan. Each person has their own personal plan as well. So when we're doing one-to-ones, we talk about, personal development, what's working on the business projects which they're working on. So I can see having another column now, another bucket to kind of manage that state shift. That sounds really smart. Yeah. Okay.
Going back. You mentioned about work, right? And you mentioned like you want to help people be more attached to mission, more aligned with company. Then you want to help them be more effective and efficient. How did that all come to be? I don't think like you woke up one day, it's like, so how did that come to be? How did you get to where you are now? How did you get the idea that is really your space, that is something that you want to do?
Yeah. So I guess the thing is reading, like always learning. So, I have a lot of credit to my business coach, because I started with them about 5 years ago with Ian, and and it's as you're sort of building this business, it's understanding how we can be a bit different, how we can we can't play sort of against the bigger organizations which maybe have more money and can pay bigger salaries. So how can we play a bit smarter? But also, actually, let's be fair, Microsoft, there's a huge amount of learning. There's all these work trend reports, and they kind of eke out these nuggets of information around more happier organizations, more profitable. The employee experience world has exploded over the last since the pandemic, really. And so learning from there and reading different books about how to build better teams, how to understand kind of how we work. Meditation has helped too, being able to learn how to try and sort of reset and switch off. And so just lots of reading of books, listening to presentations, and just bringing that together, and then having time to think. there's a Japanese philosophy. It's called forest bathing, where you go walking in the forest, and it's just giving yourself time to think. You need space to think about.
I can relate on that. So yeah.
Yeah, and let it percolate. Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. You go out with the dogs for the walk in the forest, you know. So yeah. Yeah.
Every single day. So
and it's really important that you have that space to be able to think about this stuff. Yeah. That's when your best ideas come together. That and when you're sleeping.
Yeah, but why specifically that? Why not? I don't know, something else. Like why? What's your what drives you towards exactly that? Like why do you want to help folks? You know, be more mindful, be more grounded, have that space. What's your why?
Yeah.
Why that?
Because I guess you want to help people. You know, like when I was at uni, right? The project that I did, my last dissertation was actually to build an intranet. This is back in the late 90s, 99, and I built this intranet using VB and SQL Server, and it was you know, it wasn't like Facebook, but it had some of the elements of that. You know, people sharing what they do, and it's about building that sense of community. And I guess I've always had that. And when SharePoint first came out, I was like, "Oh, this sounds amazing!" You know, installed it on an Exchange server and broke that, and then started to. But learn, you know, I was always SharePoint has, you know, had a lot of, you know, there's a lot of impact on my career. But you know, even the 2000s, but I didn't actually get to really play with SharePoint in 2006. But those philosophies, knowledge management, sharing information, community, that's kind of always been there, right? And I guess it's just part of my, you know, some of my beliefs, my identity. I just like to be able to help one another. I think we all do. We all like to feel like we're helping one another. We've got, you know, there's the sense of purpose. We by helping people, we validate our value. You know, we want to have value in a business and with family and in life. And so that's probably where that comes from. So yeah.
And I guess it's also a nice way, right? Because like from your core beliefs, you were able to make job, but also you became an MVP. So how did that part come to be? Was it something you aspired, or was it something like came to be as like an effect of the work you've done, basically, or the way you are?
Yeah, I certainly. I certainly think that MVP is amazing to be awarded that and sort of be validated. I didn't start off like looking to become an MVP. Like it's funny actually. This year in September will be 10 our user group M365 North, which has had various names over the years. It will be 10 years old, which is incredible, you know. And and it's gone really quickly as well. But so it's taken, you know, I was only an MVP sort of in November 22, so it's, you know, it's only been a year and a half, and I really sort of just I enjoy sharing. So and actually it just gives me a way of sharing more, you know, and another vehicle, which is fantastic. And
that's certainly always when you learn the skill of sharing, then you start sharing even more because you can see the impact on others. And if you have that empathy gene within you and are interested about other people, not just you, so it's and there's different kind of people. We all need different kind of perspectives and all of that stuff. But it's quite common to see that when people start and they realize that they provide, first of all, to people are afraid of sharing whatever they have because, you know, nobody cares and my stuff is blah, blah, blah. And then you actually give it away and, somebody benefit out of it. Well, this is nice. And then you get stuff on it, which is good. So it's a good thing.
That's it. And that's isn't that half the challenge? You know, most people think, no one cares what I think or say. And then you write that first blog post and you say something like, I have exactly the same problem, and you know it's fantastic, and then thanks very much, you know. And there's so many ways now of being able to share that information through technical communities and forums or blog posts, you know. It is, but it's and that's something which trying to do more of is actually bring other people, you know, in the user group particularly. We're trying to find people who haven't spoken, who are and try and nurture them to speak. And we had a chap in February, never done public speaking before. I was chatting to him on LinkedIn about HR systems, and we met up, and he said, "Oh, I've never really spoken." I said, "You've got a fantastic story about how you've moved from sort of basically support into the CTO role at a mental health charity, and use Power Platform and all these tools to kind of really help that business move forward. That's a great story. You should tell it." So he did, and it's great. It'd be nice to use user groups to do that. It's fantastic.
Brilliant. And so, what tips would you give somebody who kind of has that thought, like, I'd like to do it, but I'm hesitant. I don't think I'm interesting enough. Like people who are very much on the fence. Like, what tips would you give them to kind of take that step, take that first, step towards it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we've all been there. We've all had that same belief. So
Totally.
take that first step. Happy if they want to reach out and connect with me, and and I'll help them. I don't mind doing that. But yeah, just go for it. Like they'll be really surprised at how the reaction will be great. And and just get started. But happy to support people in making that first step, as we all are. I mean, that's what's great about this community is it's so great at amplifying and supporting one another and sharing. That's what it's about. That's fantastic. So yeah, just go for it. That's the first step, which is easier said than done.
yeah, exactly. Go outside of the comfort zone. Just do it, and then it will get easier over time. So every single time it will get easier and easier and easier. So
yeah, definitely. Look, I was at a conference last week, and it was a business conference, and it was talking about that comfort zone. First of all, you're this is your comfort zone, and then you step out of it, and then you step out of it, and suddenly, before you know it, your comfort zone is that much bigger. And then the important thing is to look back and kind of go, oh yeah, I have come out. I have like grown my capability, and it's a fantastic achievement as well to do that.
Yeah, but it is also like the only way to grow. Like the only way to grow is to go outside of the things that you already can and do, and there's so much more there to do. And if anything else, is going to, I think, enrich you as a person. You will learn, or you will get to know new folks. You will learn new things. There's nothing to lose. And again, the thoughts we all have about, I am inadequate, I'm a beginner, I have nothing to say. Everybody has that. And when you get there on a stage, people root for you. They are there. They want you. They want to hear what you have to say. So they're on your side. Like, yes, we stand across each other, but in a way that's weird because we are on the same side. We want to learn. And it's not you against them. It's actually all of us. So I think this is a really great advice for folks. Try it. You've got literally nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And and also just keep going. Like my daughter's my daughter this afternoon is a bit scared because she's doing a swimming like a swimming challenge. She's got to swim 20 lengths. She's like, oh, I'm really nervous about doing it. It's like, just go for it. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it, but go for it. But actually, if you don't do it, it doesn't matter. Like you just go again. Like just and that's this concept of you just keep you just keep going, don't you? I don't you might fail, but you don't fail. The only time you fail is when you stop doing. Like that's when you fail. You just keep going and going and go and again, and and you'll get better and better. And you'll and that's really important. And as you're saying, you're growing then as well. So
only the sky is the limit. As long as you keep on pushing and you keep on being consistent and you practice and you repeat and we all do fail things every now and then. It's part of the journey. So
but it's also something that I think we don't admit often enough, and that which kind of leads to the image that everybody's perfect, everybody's sharing only when they win, which creates this incorrect and faulty image of the reality where no, that's not true. Like for every one thing that somebody shares, like I want, there's 9 or 99 failures, and we don't talk about that enough. And I think we should, right? Because that normalizes it all. And again, as you said, I think you bring it really nicely, saying like you don't fail. You only fail when you stop, and I think like you also fail when you don't learn from the things you've done. Like every single time you do something, you learn something about yourself, right? The way you think, the way you look at things. You tried thing, it didn't work. So what? You learned the thing, right?
Yes, exactly. And was it about what's the light bulb thing? There's 1,000 times they failed on building the light bulb, and one time they didn't. Now it's not failing. It's they found out 999 times
how not to build a light bulb.
How not to build a light bulb, and those are learning. Those are valuable things. So it's incredibly important. We should probably find that quote for the video, no? Because that wasn't precisely how it is, but technically understanding. Roughly painting.
You failed to quote a quote about failure.
That's good.
Which is fine. Which is perfectly fine.
Now, a bit about the current state of Microsoft 365 and what do you see, Simon, as within your work side? You told that you started on the intranet side, you built your own intranet, and now in SharePoint, and SharePoint came, and intranets came to be a massive thing. Do you still think an intranet is a thing, or how do you see the future of Microsoft 365? Are we all going just to be in chats? Or what happens?
No. I mean, I definitely Copilot is going to have a big, it's going to have a big part to play, isn't it? I mean, AI is going to have a massive part to play. It's not going anywhere at all. The thing I love about intranets is it brings a focal point. It brings everybody together. That's what I, like. To bring everyone together. It's a place where people can communicate and see what's going on in the business, or whatever the community might be, but also bring all the tools, the services, everything into one place. I was chatting with a customer a couple of weeks ago, and they're like, well, people can't, they can't find things. It's like, well, that's because they don't have a place to start finding things. Yes. So the internet is a great way of bringing that place together, that focal point. And then, you might have your co-pilots off there, on the homepage, and you start interacting with co-pilots for HR or whatever it might be. But you can see the news, you can see, all the things which you need to be able to see to do your jobs. You can find out about how to get things done in the business, so bringing that all into the intranet and again, connecting people there. I think the intranet is like almost the core of a business, really. And I don't see that going away. I think Copilot and the chatbots is a great way of being able to communicate either text or voice as well. Why can we not speak to our chatbots and be able to interact with those?
And if you think about the chats, I touched this earlier today with the discussion with some other people, and it's actually, if you think about bots and bots, like bot framework and all of that came 5-6 years ago, and this is going to take over the world. Everything's going to be chat. Well, it wasn't. But it's integrated in the business processes, but it's never all in. It's not like dump all of that stuff and we're heading all here. It's like no. It's never that. And sure, if you think about Copilot, I think the promise of the bots is finally here. You can actually use your own audio and say and speech, and it will actually understand what is your intent, and that's mind-boggling. Finally,
but even then, clicking an icon is so much faster and more expressive.
Absolutely.
Than writing 100%. A novel just to get your last email.
Yep.
Right. So, and also another thing that I wanted to add is, I think, what if intranets are less about the how and more about what? And I think you said it's a place where you start searching and find your tools. But so it doesn't say anything about how we do it. Maybe in the past that was a portal. Maybe now it's going to be a chat. Maybe tomorrow it's going to be vision thing that we do with our eyes. I don't know. But it's a concept. It's a place where you start as opposed to a specific channel that you use to do things, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
location to go to get started and find the relevant information and tools and all of that stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think it's it's going to be interesting as well as you you sort of see that evolution as well of co-pilots. Is it auto dev being talked about a few weeks ago, and having these agents and that sort of that start of that shift as well. I think that's going to be really interesting to see where that goes in the M365 space too, and how that becomes available, I guess. And it's also bringing all those things like your tasks, bringing that OneNote Vesa that you use into one place, make it easy, accessible, reminding, being a real useful assistant so that you can kind of don't have to have everything in your head. You can kind of get it out of your head, give you more space to think, and you can use the tools to support you and be your personal assistant, I guess.
It is an interesting point, right? Because when you think back, right? Let's say we go back to schools or the EDU space in, I don't know, 70s or 80s. Like every professor would have an assistant to kind of do the admin task, whether that's, checking homework or which task they have to do next, booking appointments, and so forth and so on, right? Then we empowered people with everybody gets a computer, and now you're empowered to do your own thing. With the results that professors don't have no longer time to do their work, which is research and deep thought, because now they are buried under the admin thing. Because now you no longer need an assistant because you're empowered to do everything by yourself. And now we're going full circle back with getting AI assistant to help us do the mundane work, so that we can get back to our core and doing the true work that only we can do. So it's interesting, like how that goes like full circle back to where it actually would start originally.
And most likely it will keep on doing those cycles even more in the future. So as we see in the pendulum moving and a focus, and so it's a one thing which is a kind of a blessing. Which if you've been long enough in a computer and IT in the business, you kind of realize that all of this, like this is going to take over the world and everything else is gone. It's like sure, whatever.
Outsource, insource, offshore, inshore, closure,
everything.
Low
just
code.
And that's it, isn't it? It's again, one of the talks last week was talking about you don't do massive change, you do little incremental changes, and that's how you change direction and bring things in, and bring everyone along with you on that journey. Little tweaks.
Which is an interesting thing too. Like, how do you see the customers with whom you work experience change? Because from our end, especially in tech, it seems like there is not a single day goes by where there's no change. It's almost insane. It's insane to, for one, to stay on top of it, two, give it a place in your strategy or planning, the way you work, and then implement it efficiently. So how do you see the customers with whom you work embrace that and react to it? Change.
Yeah, so we support them on it, so we when we first start with a customer, we do this envisioning session where we kind of talk about the art of the possible across those pillars of collaboration, communication, and then we just kind of we just keep sort of taking them through, talking through what's changing, what we're seeing other customers do, and advising them, supporting them on that journey. And where it works really the best is with the customers where their management are involved. I've got one in my head at the moment, and Nick is, he's the MD, he's the CEO of that organization, and he's really bought into community. He's really bought into sharing, and he's using Viva Engage to kind of share his thoughts and ideas and bringing the business along with it as well. So sort of over communication in some respects is the way you keep communicating, and so that's what we try and do with our customers, and keep in touch with them regularly and talk through what's going on. And
it's always incredibly important to have the leadership backing, and like in the case of what you are referring to is because they're leaders, they're the company examples, and if they are in the front and center and execute in a certain way, people will copy that because that company culture. So
yeah, that's right. And this concept of oversharing is amazing because, how often in you're working in a company and then suddenly the business shifts, like 180 degrees, and you're like, where did that come from? Well, if you're over communicating and talking through, you can sort of see it, and that's we do it with an iThink. I try and put a Viva Engage post in, just record myself on my phone once a week. I used to try and do it every day, but it's too much. Once a week, just talking about what's going on, what's top of mind, and just so you're bringing people along with you.
Yeah, but it is exactly that. Especially as you go through change, you see this so much, right? Where there's, let's say, a core team or somebody who will introduce change, and they think about that change, that new thing, day in, day out for months.
Yeah.
And then it lands, and everybody's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And you kind of lose the empathy, it's been your daily thing for months, and for everybody else, it's a brand new thing. It falls out of the blue. So you can't just drop it on them, right? You got to take them through basically the same thing you went through yourself for months. Now you need to compress that in, I don't know, days, weeks, whatever. But basically you need to bring, you need to bring them along with you with the change, bearing, eliminating all the, the fuzzy, the workarounds you implemented as you thought about the way you want to implement it. But now that you've got the thing that you want to change, now it's time for you to take a step back, bring everybody along, and kind of start from there, because otherwise it's going to clash.
Yeah. So Copilot is a big one, isn't it? AI, ChatGPT, that is a huge change to the development teams, and so, middle of last year, we started introducing GitHub Copilot, and some of the team were a bit, kind of like, I don't like it. I want to be able to write all my code, and I don't like the fact that I might not know what it's writing. And it's like, well, it's the next evolution of that abstraction layer. You don't write in assembly anymore. You write in IDEs, and it's the next evolution of that. And we need to start trying and seeing how these tools can improve our productivity and how we build things. But also with Copilot, the end of last year and the beginning of this year, it's been fantastic to have access to Copilot through the MVP sandbox, that was able, to kind of start seeing what's going on, start coming up with a story about how we can help customers, but also bring the developers and the teams along on what we can do. And so we do every Friday afternoon. People have that half a day to just kind of do whatever they're training, learning, whatever they want to do, and so we will use that time to kind of share. And so I put together a presentation. I've ended up doing that presentation, at some of the user groups as well, or one of the user groups in particular, to kind of sort of how I helped bring the team along, and what worked, what didn't work, how we got around things, and it's important. It's important to do that, and hopefully we'll be better for our customers as well, because we'll be able to then deliver that in a thought out way. We're very strong on DevOps. We want to have CI/CD for everything. We want to make sure that we can automate the delivery of things, and it's thinking about all of those things when you're looking at these solutions.
Makes sense. Now, from a timing perspective, I think we need to start wrapping up. We went a bit long again, which always happens, so it's okay. But what's going to happen this week? So typical things, which we every now and then we forget about asking this, but we try to ask this in every show. So what's anything interesting on your week?
Well, Vesa, we've got two. I'm lucky to chat with you tomorrow as well, so I'm excited.
That is true.
Chat about the Viva connections, and what is so preparing to go to M365 conference in Florida next week. So so we've got a few products which we're just getting ready to submit. So recording some videos, recording some images, getting some images ready for submitting those into the store. We've got a number of projects which are in flight as well, catching up with the teams, kind of reviewing what they've been doing, code reviews, a bit of sprint planning, and then we've got sales and envisioning, and then of course we'll join the community calls tomorrow as well.
Very good. Cool.
As well. So
Cool.
yeah.
Don't miss the
Okay.
community calls. Right?
So that was the Monday. What are you going to do on Tuesday?
Right, let me go. Wednesday, I've got Thursdays are away day actually, so we're going to be doing a hackathon, and we're going to be
on what
a hackathon. Yeah.
On what?
On what? So around around Copilot and
so cool. I'm so curious now. we need to actually get you back on the show in like 2 weeks to kind of pick your brain again. Like, hey, so what was it?
yeah, no problem at all. We also webinars as well. We're looking at doing some webinars too. So and then Friday, another couple of one-to-ones and preparing for my Collab Summit talk as well. So that's what I'm doing.
Nice. Yeah, because that is around the corner too now. Yeah.
Yep.
How about yourselves? What have you guys got on this week?
Waldek, what's on your table?
Big week. So this is kind of the last Thursday of the month when we release new version of Dev Proxy, and we have some really exciting stuff. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're planning to release on European morning on Thursday, April 25th. So definitely stay tuned for the announcement and the release. And other than that, some cool ideas that I cannot really talk about yet, but definitely will hope to be able to share more about.
Among friends, come on.
Yes,
Waldek.
nobody will know, right? Nobody will know. Definitely.
And on my table, it's really prepping for Orlando, but I also have like 3 to 4 videos which I need to get out this week related on new capabilities in Viva Connection. I just finalized producing the video for the Brand Central and SPFX components because Brand Central goes to targeted release today. On Monday, 22nd of April, 2024. And that means that people are able to add custom fonts. And then the immediate question is, okay, what about custom web parts? And how can they adapt on those custom fonts? And I have to call out Stefan Bauer. Thank you for helping me I'm not I understand technologies, HTML, I can write code a bit, but it's just realities of the world that you don't have time to deep dive on CSS stuff and stylings. And Stefan Bauer helped me last week. We're good friends anyway. So he, I needed questions about CSS. Who do I ask? Stefan Bauer. Can you help?
Copilot. Copilot.
I still choose Stefan Bauer on behalf of Copilot. So.
We can't all pick Stefan because otherwise he will not be able to do anything else. So for everybody else,
that is true. That is true. But yeah, so call up Orlando coming next week. That's going to take a lot of time, and it's a busy week always. So, but looking forward on having a chat and try to get everything prepared in a way that we can enjoy the conference. It's always an incredibly difficult thing if you have multiple sessions, and like we have 2 community calls which we're doing live, 2 sessions, 2 workshops, and all of that stuff. If you don't have everything ready, that means that you actually need to execute during the week and build stuff still during the week, and then you cannot enjoy the networking, which is like Finns would never ever enjoy networking anyway. But
no, it's important, isn't it? You want to be present for the conference, And
exactly.
No, I'm really excited for the brand center stuff and the custom fonts. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Yeah,
that's been a long time coming. Finally, now it's reality. So now it's really truly coming. Message Center Show just talked about it because roadmap entry was updated. I think this morning or during weekend. So
in other words, there's no way back. Now it's real.
Now it's coming. Yes. And I promised to help Kathy on some of this stuff as well. But anyway, so really cool. Good work on Kathy too on that one. Really cool to see that realized as a functionality. So, and it works. I've tested that. So
perfect. Sounds good.
Cool. I guess that's it. A bit long. It's okay. It's always good to catch up. And thank you for great discussion, Simon. Looking forward on our next recording tomorrow.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, thank you so much for having us. Brilliant.
Not a problem. But thank you for joining. And from here, we'll jump into the weekly articles with Waldek. Waldek will need to be a bit quick again on them, but interview is the main thing. Right?
Sorry.
So quick. Yeah, totally.
No, not Simon on not on you. It's on us.
I mean, we have great guests, and they have so much to say, and it's so interesting. Like if anything else, I could be here another hour, like picking your brain on, what you think about that.
Absolutely.
Like you have unique view on collaboration, knowledge work, organizing things, like all the things I'm passionate about. So
Cool. Let's do it. We'll do the
hour,
session.
goes like that.
True. But thank you, Simon. Really, really cool. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
And thank you, Simon, for one more time on the great chat. Looking forward actually to tomorrow's Partner Showcase gallery recording as well. So it's kind of a lot of videos getting done this week as a buffer a bit on over the Microsoft 365 conference and upcoming conferences, which is really cool. It's actually really cool to see people, but then what's always so frustrating is that you run out of time on the prep or you kind of it's just start early, yeah, but I got this other stuff, and until you just, anyway, it's okay. We're getting things done. As long as you know what are the sessions, what you need to deliver, will be good. So, right?
Well, and also there's this other thing that when you work at Microsoft, you're kind of, on one hand, we have the ability to show people the latest things as they are being shipped. The caveat, because like we want to show you the latest and greatest advancement that we've done.
Sure.
Caveat with that was that often the latest and greatest are done really, really late because they are the latest, and we want to polish them as much as we can, finish them as much as we can, which also means that things change until the very last moment, which also means like we cannot prep this 2 or 3 months ahead of time.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Absolutely. That is true. I still remember, and it's bad thing to even share, but hey, we are among friends here, right? So for MVP Summit, there was a suggestion at some point that, we need to have the sessions and content and structures and PowerPoints ready by end of January, and MVP Summit is in March. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. It's not like I know what I'm going to do a month from now, because at least in my role, because things change, things evolve, and if you want to tell the latest and greatest, as you were saying, for conferences as well, things evolve, things shift, things get pulled back, or then there's a decision to embargo or delay announcement for certain features through certain conferences, and then they're only done in afterwards, and you don't want to leak the spill the beans before, and it's complicated. So. But at least this time for Orlando, I don't have a keynote, which I'm happy. So.
I mean, it's not like we don't hear enough from you. So.
But we were recording before we got to dark, we were recording podcast earlier today with Daniel Anderson. I was a visitor there, and as I was saying for him, I don't really want to be, in the podium and numerous channels and everything else, but somebody, if nobody else is showing up, then I guess I need to show up, or somebody needs to show up.
Well, but then the caveat is, because you show up, nobody else doesn't feel like they have to, because you show up.
Could be the case as well. But again, always looking and trying to push the people. So, but last year it was a weird, like, hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Okay, we'll figure it out. And then all of a sudden I was announced to be the keynote presenter with Charles Lamanna. And it's like, but nobody asked me. What?
I mean, you're the yes guy. Like you're always willing. You're helpful. Like you don't need to ask things. You just assume that you will be there.
I guess so. You never assume without asking. That's always for being polite. So
Well, I mean, that was an example of you being voluntold.
I guess so then. And it went really well. So get to know cool people from the Power Platform organization through that connection and all of that. And that was a really nice keynote with April and David and Charles and me. So of course, Charles being the big star of the keynote. So, but anyway, that's really cool that it's only a few sessions and a few workshops this time. So which is nice.
Only a few.
Yeah. Ignite Chicago 2018, I had 5 sessions in 1.5 days, and then I had a flight home on the afternoon on the second day.
So is that a lot to you? Is that where your bar is for a lot?
I think that was a lot. Yeah, that was a pretty
okay.
A pretty hectic.
So anything less than 5 sessions in a day and a half is good. Okay. We'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, you've done MCM in the past, which is like a whole day thing. So
True.
There is that.
Or 3 weeks long, but 1.5 days was mine. So
yeah, there you go.
Anyway, Anyway, let's actually jump on the articles. So let me click from here, and we'll jump on the articles. Let's start with some thought leadership from Jared Spataro around the AI transformation journey with Microsoft Viva. And this is really talking about how the Microsoft Copilot is getting surfaced in Microsoft Viva with its current stage. There's a lot of upcoming innovation coming on this area as well, but there's already a lot of, let's say, support what the Microsoft Copilot is actually providing inside of the employee experiences platform as well, to make it easier for people to create things and summarize things and write and guide you on articles, for example, if you want to engage and all of that stuff. So a lot of interesting stuff here for sure. Moving on to things, Microsoft Teams didn't have any blogs posted this week, which is maybe something big is happening. So we're gonna rebrand. No. Let's not start that rumor. No. Just every now and then there's a week when there's not that many news. That's what it means. But on the Microsoft 365 blog, there was a blog post related to Microsoft OneNote, which is now available on Apple Vision Pro. Cool technology testing, all of that stuff. I haven't had a chance to test out the Apple Vision Pro. It would be actually cool to test it out, but $3,500 is pretty expensive. 3,500.
Yeah, and also that for what basically is a dev kit, right? Because like, yes. I don't know if you recall that when it came out, there was a huge buzz, and now you don't see or hear anything about anything at all. And that has, all the signs of this is a dev kit, it's a hype, it's very early on. Influencers move on to the next thing.
Yep.
And this is, the news of yesterday.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, OneNote over there as well. Then there's a preview on what's coming in European Collaboration Summit 2024 in Wiesbaden, right next to Frankfurt. It's pretty much the same distance from the airport to Wiesbaden and then Frankfurt by the lake. Frankfurt am Main, right? Anyway, not by the lake, by the river was what I was trying to say. And nobody can follow up on what I'm trying to now explain. I should actually start thinking before I'm talking. That would help.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for confirming that. Anyway, so ECS.
I'm here the whole week, adding value.
Yes. Is it May 14th to 16th? May 14th is the workshop day. We have nice workshops available there. And then 15 and 16 are the actual sessions and breakouts, cool stuff over there as well. There's a nice set of keynotes which are happening. The primary general keynote is with the Thriving with the Age of Copilots and hosted by Laurie Pottimeyer. We just had a meeting with Laurie on planning on this one last week, and it's looking really, really cool. So I'll be joining, Dan is joining, Jason Himmelstein is, and Donna Sarkar is joining on that one. So it should be a nice setup. Looking into doing something similar as last time in ECS, which is casual sofa style discussion, but still showing demos. So making it not as a marketing, promotional marketing stuff, more as a, hey, this is what it actually means, a bit more casual. Yes, a bit marketing as well, but still. So
really curious what you will show, but
maybe something around copilots. Maybe we'll see. Good, but a lot of other stuff there as well from Microsoft. We're closely involved in this with the team. That's the last year's keynote crew, which is actually pretty big keynotes. A lot of demos. You were there as well on the keynote.
Correct.
That
yes, I am there on the stage on the very left next to you.
Yes, you are. Yes, hiding behind of your hands.
Yes.
Like I am.
Yes, there you go. Stealth.
Yes.
Hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. But should be a really good one, and that seems to be sold out pretty soon. So which is really, really cool at 3,000 attendees. So awesome stuff. Now, Nicole Hill, she's a research manager in the Viva OneDrive teams, Viva Studios, whatever. It doesn't really matter where it is internally, but she is also hosting research sessions in the upcoming Orlando conference. And this is basically just getting a feedback and getting or signing up for the roundtable discussions, it's basically research sessions. What do you think about this and this and this? And then they're collecting that feedback, and you will get a $20 gift card on joining on that one. So great opportunity of, hey, gaining some money as you go to Orlando. So
yeah, but also if anything else, being able to influence, because
100%.
to influence the products that we build, because at the end of the day, your input matters. It might not show that externally, but internally we see the importance of that, and how often the feedback that we get from all of you matters and really drives decision that we make. So
100%.
if anything else, like the money that is nice, but be able, like if you can spend, I don't know how much time it costs,
60 to 75 minute session. Yeah,
there you go. Right. So if you can find that time, set it aside, and tell us more about what works, what doesn't work, how you use the things that we build, and where we can improve.
And I think this is a really great opportunity for those who are not MVPs necessarily, or not closely involved typically. So as an end user, and that feedback is incredibly important as well. MVPs is a different audience than necessarily the end users, or the people who are working on day-to-day on these things. Not MVPs do that as well, but again, it's a broader, open feedback forum, which is really good. Now, commercial preview part of Microsoft Office LTSC 2024 is now available. We talked about that one a while back, and we were unable to really figure out what is LTSC.
Long-term support channel?
Yes, that's what it was. Again, thank you for reminding me.
No, it's long-term servicing channel. It's in the first line at the end.
Yes.
Long-term servicing
channel. Yes. Yep. Yes. Now I get it. Yes. Cool. So that's now available. We talked about that one in a while. This is around the personalized option in Viva Connections. So on the Viva Connection side, there's quite a lot of new features on the Viva Connection. It is evolving. But in this case, we're talking about the fact that you have a personalization option. So you can basically do Viva Connection personalization in a dashboard level, because you can have multiple dashboards. You can have audiences in a cards level. But then you can also do this kind of thing, so which is the administrators set up the default cards, but you as an end user, you can choose which of them will be visible for you and which order. And that's actually really cool. So a lot of personalization, which of course then also is available in a mobile. So you can really decide what is the view, what you want to have there, which card are relevant for you, which is really cool. Good. That's a cool looking dashboard, by the way. We will be sharing these assets and dashboard assets sooner or later. Right now, we're prepping this for the Orlando, and there's more news announcement and assets related on all of this stuff at some point. So now, there was a great news on the Visual Studio Code VS Toolkit for Teams Toolkit in Visual Studio Code, right? I guess it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, API-based messaging extensions. Didn't we actually talk about this one partly at some point? But then
yes, we have.
Yes.
We have.
Yes. But basically, you can create a Teams messaging extension without code, and
without a bot. You need code, which is because code is in the API, but you don't need to build a bot.
Correct. You don't need to have a Teams side code. The code is still in your API, which is hosted in Azure, right? So in the Teams side, you're just defining, hey, here's an API. Let's hit that, and these are the endpoints, and this is how it works. And then it will, Teams will be able to start having a discussion with the API, which is really cool. Simplification, abstraction. I like this. I like this a lot. So really cool stuff. And of course, the APIs can respond adaptive card, and well, the message extension is showing adaptive cards, and then as you set up values and click a button, you can push back on the APIs as a response, which is really cool. Awesome stuff. Great news. DC Padura also had a news last week related to Microsoft Graph APIs for SharePoint Pages, which is now generally available, which is really cool. So this has been a while in making. I think it's fair to say it's taken, unfortunately, years to make this happen, but it's really cool to have a official support now in the Microsoft Graph for the SharePoint Pages API. See the documentation. There's actually quite a few demos in the YouTube channel as well on how things are working, and quite a few and code samples also in the solution gallery, which is great. So awesome stuff. And there was also an announcement of Fluid Framework 2.0 preview, which is great as well. And it's going to be in generally available status in summer 2024, building live. What are the collaborative apps, live
apps, yeah.
Live action, no, live. What are those? My brain is
Collaborative
really
apps.
hitting.
They are in their live
Collaborative.
or apps where you interact with each other live.
Yes,
So it's
yes,
multiplayer,
yes.
multiplayer apps basically.
Yep, absolutely. Really, really cool stuff over there. And then Jumole Mohabi had a blog post related on some podcast Copilot with Azure OpenAI Service.net and Platform Workshop, and material for the Power Platform side in the Power Platform developer blog, which is really, really cool. And labs and all of that to be able to get your Power Platform integrated directly with a Azure OpenAI services. Awesome stuff. Now, on Power Platform side, they say how Power Platform is driving real-world impact. Mark's customer success story is super important piece. It's not just about the technology, because technology enables business improvements and business processes and solutions. So therefore, the solutions what we built is actually even more important than the technical nuances on technology, which is important. It enables then actual solutions. But really cool to have a collection of these stories in place and shared openly for other people for inspiration and ideas. So on the Power Automating, transforming digital processes with AI, a Power Platform process mining case study with Microsoft Customer Partner Solution. Again, customer stories and customer solution and things what have been built, really, really cool. And efficiency gain, so how much more improvements in productivity because of the solution. Always good stats. So
definitely, and also great to get ROI on the investment, right? Because like oftentimes it's like,
yes.
Okay, tech is cool, but what will be really the benefit? And it's really
Correct.
great to have evidence of the benefits that you get and really tangible proof that it helps.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. Now, we didn't cover this last time, but of course, super important thing. We have 4 new community coordinator team members, April 2024. We're always evolving the team of MVPs and internal Microsoft people who are actively involved within our community efforts all up. So we have a new people. Katarina has been closely involved on the Power Platform sample sites, evolving those and merging things in GitHub. So thank you, Katarina. And also sharing latest updates in community calls and all of that related on Power Platform. Rashmi has been closely involved in SPFX and also the script samples. And I'm just seeing Twitter discussions on the script samples from her. And she's helping on coordinating those script samples also in the future. Dan Doft has done a lot of SPFX stuff, also being on a show like Rashmi as well, and a lot of stuff on the SPFX side, looking on other areas, and then Kasper has been helping on the modern search project significantly and coordinating things and helping people. So cool to get them acknowledged and more closely involved within the team.
Definitely.
We should actually get Katarina probably on the PnP Weekly.
Yes, definitely.
We haven't actually done that, so
There's
good.
Time.
Yes, is there time?
Yes.
Yes. How many episodes do we still have time before it goes sour? No. Empowering secure collaboration, configuring SharePoint sharing tenant and site settings with PowerShell to prevent oversharing. Script automations on how to do things from Rashmi. What are the settings? How can I automate things? What are those different options and what they actually mean in practice? So really, really cool reference blog post on how to set up things. Thank you for that. That should be actually over there. And let's go through these first. There we go. So Xiao Ferreira had a blog post around enhancing data management with Microsoft Lists, forms, and form formatting. And again, this is really, really cool stuff because you can now actually create those list forms and modify those experiences. And we've been testing this internally for quite a long time, but it's actually surprisingly powerful. And then you're able to, of course, modify how do you render that information using JSON definitions. So lists are really powerful. There's so much you can do with them. Laura had a nice blog post related on overcoming challenges when migrating SharePoint online user profile properties. She had a real-world project. We talked about this one last Friday with her. There was some learnings related on PowerShell usage, and then challenges related on updating things and applying things and all of that. And she talks about all of the findings within the blog post to be aware of, which is important. So it's really nice that people are, I bang my head against the wall rather than forcing other people to do the same. They're actually sharing how to avoid the issue. So with this,
but
this is how
this
community
makes
works.
really for the best post, because you learn so much, and it's also great. Like, one, to hear that you aren't alone, that other people come across caveats too, and two, it's exactly as you said, like somebody else did that and figured it out. There's enough cake for everybody. Like, there's no reason to keep it like my precious. Like, no, just share it, help others, because basically that's how we all learn. Like, you learn the same way from others who shared their stuff. Pass it forward.
Absolutely, 100%. Laura Rogers had a blog post on SharePoint Modern Forms, no permission needed, and basically talking about the different impacts of modern forms and what kind of things to be able to collect the information, what's supported, what's not supported, all of that stuff, which is great summary as well. Awesome on there. Few videos. Shane, that doesn't look good. No, better. So Power Automate questions and answers. So typical questions and answers, Shane goes them through. Thank you, Shane. Shane is really good at this stuff and tries always help people succeed within their work. We also had this Microsoft event pretty recently, the new Microsoft Planner, Meet the Makers and Learn what's coming next. It's really around talking about the new Microsoft Planner, which is combining, what was it? Microsoft Tasks, To-Do, Planner. I can't even remember all of the things, but rethinking the planner and how to make it better for tracking tasks, your personal task and a team task and all of that. In the Simon's interview, we talked about how they're using Planner for personal things and for the team things, which is great stuff. Oh, that one we went through. This one, page layouts, building great home pages for SharePoint is an event with Synpraxis. Synpraxis is a bi-weekly series where they actually talk about different aspects of Microsoft 365 and then they live stream that, which is a cool way of educating people as well. So a lot of learnings over there. There was also a video from SharePoint Brand Center, so Message Center show people, and the latest shiny new thing is the SharePoint Brand Center. And this is basically, right now, it's primarily custom fonts, enabling custom fonts to be configured from one centralized location, and then they will be exposed or used across the tenant. But then there's more stuff coming in the future as well. A lot of interesting plans in that side in the future. I have some videos actually pending on getting released related on that as well. So, and then Amy Diamond, yes. Amy had a video around quick and simple method to identify permission groups, permission group in SharePoint. So learnings from the how to do things in day-to-day practice based on his day-to-day work with the SharePoint. And he's doing a lot of great videos on the SharePoint side as well. And then we had a podcast interview with Daniel Anderson and Jeff Teeper, so transforming businesses, processes with SharePoint and Copilot, and where we are, look on the history things, and then also the future. So a really nice blog post episode with Jeff as well. Cool. And maybe the final thing, just to call out, we're missing 1,940 samples. It's currently the number, and we're getting more and more contributions all the time across the thing. So do not miss out all of the great stuff which is happening in the sample solution gallery. It's awesome to see this. It's brilliant. You also had one new project starting up in here pretty soon, so it's good.
Correct. So definitely stay tuned for more Copilot stuff.
Yes. Surprise.
Yes. What is top of mind for us?
Yes.
Begins with a C and ends with O-Pilot.
Yes. Cool. It's going to be a busy week getting ready for all of the things. I think you have a lot of things to prep as well for ECS and of course the dev proxy, which we talked about already. It's always, but it's a good practice for the last. Have a cycle and a schedule which pushes you forward, because if you don't have that deadline, then it either starts slipping.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so. And it's kind of twofold, right? Because on one hand, a month isn't much, right? So you can always say, how much meaningful and truly innovative work can you do in a month? Well, maybe for some things we can, right? So some things might take more. But I mean, so far, it's like it's been this interesting thing to kind of go a bit on the tangent. There was time, where we had so many ideas and we would just ship, and like have a release consistently every single month for over a year. And then we kind of got to the point like we kind of ran through our original batch of stuff. All of that is done. What are we going to do next? Like first of all, like we shipped so much. Let's ensure that everybody knows about that. So how about we slow down the releases, release every other month, and then increase kind of the time that we win back we spend on content. Basically, rinse and repeat and show everybody everything that we've got, because we can keep, adding things, but if nobody knows about them, what's the point, right? But then we kind of get like, oh, that's cool, and that's a small fix that we can do, and then we kind of got back into the monthly, like, yeah, we have a release, like we have enough stuff to release again. So like, you know what? Then we release. So,
but it's actually, I'm a big fan of having, well, this from my internal communications as well, that I'm extremely strict for myself to keep on pushing certain timelines and certain schedules and certain weekly messaging and all of that, because if I give myself the benefit of not doing that for 1 week, then it's so much easier to not do that in another week. So it's kind of, then it starts falling apart. But I'm a big fan of the fact that you promise and you have a clear schedule. Externally, people will know that it's coming, so that they can prep time for it. And even though you would have to postpone some features, we didn't have time to finalize this one, let's push it to the next month. It will be then coming in the next month. As long as you have 1 or 2 new features, all good, just keep on going.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. Like at the end of the day, you build a relationship, you build trust by managing expectations, and a big part of that is communication.
Yes, 100%.
Being transparent and predictable, and letting people like, hey, this thing didn't make it, it's gonna come then, or we aim to do it then. When things change, you adjust too. But like, you gotta let people plan too, because as much as we plan internally, people plan externally too.
Absolutely. And understanding those dependencies and respecting other people by communicating them clearly, the changes and expectations, is super critical.
So. And also there's this other thing, because and that's, I think, especially to do in open source, but it really applies to any project when you work with external partners who aren't a part of the internal team. They chose to spend their time to contribute to your thing. They might want to know when they can communicate their work towards their leadership too.
Yes.
So they need to know, like, hey, like I've spent this time. Where can I share this with my, my team and org? So again, like knowing the timelines when their work will become available is important too, right? Because like, if that experience isn't great, well, they will think twice the next time you ask them to do stuff.
100%.
Whereas if it's there, if it's open, and if they have a great experience, they will be willing to help you that much more, right? Like at the end of the day, we're human.
Yes, empathy is a super skill in open source and community, because then you kind of understand that the other people are waiting, and you want to help them to succeed and help them to benefit out of that as well. So it's and you understand more on why communications is important. So it's not about you; it's all about them who are helping within the open source and in community areas. So cool. We could go on and on and on and on this topic for sure.
Just brought me to an idea. We should have a one show where maybe we'll spend less time on the news, or maybe there will be just less news to talk about, but have some folks from community who lead an effort, who lead an open source project, and basically get their perspective of how they experience that, and what are their strategies and tactics and approach to organizing things, communicating, and so forth and so on. So I think that might be an interesting thing for folks to hear too.
Yeah, absolutely. Great idea. Let's follow up on that.
Let's do a panel.
Let's do a panel. Yes, absolutely. Cool. Anyway, thank you for joining. Thank you, Simon, once again on joining today. And we'll be back with the PnP Weekly within a week. Cheers, everybody.
See ya.